Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro. You're here back with me, your host, Donald Wonder, to continue the celebration for the Year of Lupin here in 2016. Thanks, guys. If you were here last time, you probably saw us talk about the Lupin TV special, Jigen's Gravestone, that was a spin-off of the Fujiko Mine TV series. And on that review, I did say that I'm going to stop talking about the animated releases because I've planned to kind of move into the TV series next year. There's a couple more special videos I want to do before we get to next year. And the first one is I want to talk about the second live-action Lupin the Third movie that was made in 2014 called Lupin the Third. Now, there was one that was made in the late 60s, early 70s that is the original first Lupin movie. I'm not going to review that movie because it's so old, so outdated. There's only so much I want to do, and there's someone on stop motion, I think he's called Manga Man. I'm going to link to his video, watch that, and I can't be arsed. It doesn't look like something that I have a lot to comment on, and I'm too busy, guys, so I'm sorry. You can go and watch that video, but let's move on to this video, which is the most recent live action up to date Lupin the Third movie, and this one is interesting. Guys, this is going to be a short review because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I don't want to get into any nitty gritty. I'm going to give you a basic plot line. And first of all, this movie is another, let's call it another alternative reality because they're telling Lupin's story from the beginning again. Lupin the Third is a thief, and in this movie, they decided to, he works with Jigen and Fujiko, but he also works with these other two people as well in this crime syndicate group. I think it was called, what is it called, the Works? Yeah, it was the group's called the Works, and basically they all steal things from rich people or whatever. And when the movie starts off on a bit of an interesting high note. There's a little heist, and it looks like they're all trying to steal this treasure, and Lupin comes in the last minute and steals it. And even though they're a group of thieves, it looks like they're all trying to one-up each other to kind of get to the top level or the head guy or become the head of the thieving group. And then when there's a situation where one of the thieves blackmails Lupin to actually give him the treasure at the end, and then they go back to the headquarters, and then the head of the thievery group decides that he's going to step down, but he wants to hand the mantle over to someone else. And then basically what ends up happening is there's a betrayal, and then Lupin is betrayed by another team, and it gets a little bit convoluted. Basically, this turns out into a heist gone wrong, Lupin's team wanting revenge, some extra characters, and it's got something to do with another group, blah 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 blah. The story is a little bit convoluted for my liking, to be honest with you. And you know, this this movie is actually suffering from what a lot of the TV specials suffer from. Sometimes the stories are just too convoluted. You don't need to put so much story into it. When the movie started with this heist, that was fun, that was fine. But once they introduced these secondary characters, and these secondary characters are in it for most of the movie, it was taking up time. And again, this movie gets a little bit maybe too serious for its own good, and I didn't really care for some of the subplots, like this character called Michael, who was part of the Works and then betrays the team, and then he comes back to the team, and then they have to go after some other team. There was so much dead air, uninteresting subplot in the movie that, again, we've seen in the animated movies as well. It's suffering from a lot of the other problems that we have in the animated franchise. But to add to that, another problem with this movie is too long. It's over 2 hours, man. This is another thing. Just if you trimmed the fat, this would have been a hell of a lot better. And a lot of my problems with the script. And the script is the main problem with this movie. And sorry to start on a negative, but the script is very disappointing. The story overall is very lackluster. You've seen it before. And again, well, let's talk about the other things. Let's talk about the characters. Now, let's talk about the characters and the actors, actually. Now, the actors portraying the animated characters, Lupin, Fujiko, you know what? They all do pretty well. They act well. This is the Asian cast, you can see it. But funny enough, even though it's mostly Asians, there's some British, there's some American people in here. And, you know, they look like they're dressing in really great cosplay, which is a lot of fan service for the fans. And it looks good. The action scenes are okay. The cinematography is okay, but the lighting was a little bit off. The directing was a little bit off. It looks like a really good student film, but it's passable. It's a lot of fun. Again, I really just felt like if this wasn't such a muddled story and it wasn't so long, it could have been a really fun, live action adaptation. But instead, it's a bit bloated. It takes itself a little bit too seriously. And lastly, let me get to the other aesthetics. Now, the audio is interesting. Now, the background music it's cool. They have a nice little theme. It's not I don't think you ever hear the original Lupin theme in here, but they have a nice background theme, which is cool. It sets the tone. The confusing thing, and what you'll see in all the reviews, is the dialogue and the language of the dialogue. Now, I was a little bit confused because I was watching this in Japanese, then all of a sudden the characters were speaking English, even the Asian characters. I was like, what's going on? Am I watching some kind of weird mixed up or something? And I was watching the characters' mouths and they were speaking English. And basically, I don't want to say at random, but the dialogue changes from Japanese to English to Chinese. And I don't know, sometimes it's appropriate that you'll get a British character coming in who's clearly speaking English because he's British. That's fine. And then an American character speaking English as well, and the Chinese character speaking Chinese. But the English, for everyone, English will just come out of nowhere and then it'll go back to Japanese. And I was thinking, is this a bad dub? But I watched the characters' mouths. I could see that, no, these are the characters actually speaking English. And on top of that, the Asian actors' English wasn't that good. And it came off as English. Now, this was a very interesting experience for me because I was like, what kind of decision went into this? I mean, I understand that some of these international Asian movies are redubbed into English. That's fine, but why are they going back and forth? Why did they decide to mix? It was a really weird experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but the Asian actors were speaking English. It seemed at random. And it interchanges. It was kind of cute at times, but it was a bit confusing. It really was, and I don't know, man. It was weird. Man, the highlight characters, Lupin, the guy who plays Lupin, really good, and the attention to detail with him playing that character is really good. The things he says, Fujiko, Jigen, again, the costume designs are good. It looks a little bit like super cosplay, but it kind of works. I think Zenigata, the actor who really portrays Zenigata, does a really good job. He really puts his energy into it, and I would honestly say this was competent if I wasn't bored by it halfway through. The first 10 minutes is good. They have scenes with Lupin and Jigen in the car, which is good. They have bits and pieces that are just so nice, and a nice homage to the fans, a nice homage to the animated series that is pretty much done tick for tack, that they took it out of the anime and put it in front of you in live action, which I commend. But the story just doesn't help. The story really doesn't help. But it's not the actor's fault. I will say that the cinematography, the budget is decent. I've seen worse. If you ask me how many anime adaptation live action movies I've seen Death Note. My favorite still has to be Gantz. The two Gantz movies, I still like them. I saw Attack on Titan, which I wasn't a big fan of because they changed the story so much as well. The anime adaptations are hit and miss, and they're always gonna be. And you know what? I know someone asked me, what if the Americans did a US version? There's been talks about doing a US version of Lupin the Third. I wouldn't want to see it. I just don't think it can be done right. Maybe it can be done right, but I don't know, man. Some of it is a little bit too over the top, and they tried their best. And there's a lot of things in here that is interesting. Some of the special effects, rocket packs, and some of the dynamic ranges. When you see Goemon fighting with his sword, it's competent. I will say that. A lot of this is competent, but the story drags everything down to the bottom. Now, as a result, I'm going to have to give this movie an okay. And the reason why I'm going to give it an okay is because I was actually expecting this to be absolute garbage. And the worst thing I can accuse this movie of being is boring. If it wasn't boring, it would be very passable. But it's boring, the story's crap, and that sort of brings it down. But they tried. That's what I will say. They tried. I could appreciate that. But, I would watch another one of these if they trimmed the fat and made it more streamlined. That's my thoughts on it. So now when it comes to the critical feedback from the fans, what the fans had to say, the die-hard Lupin fans hated this and thought like it was a betrayal. The casuals thought was like me, it was kind of hit and miss. And then some other people thought it was cute. So it ranges across the board. But generally, this movie is kind of sitting at if I had to say like a out of 10, it's sitting at a 5 out of 10 really for most people. And again, I don't know if that matches my rating of okay, but you know, it was a nice try and it isn't horrible. I've seen a hell of a lot worse from America and from Japan. So it's not the worst thing on earth. It was watchable on a base sense, but I was disappointed, and you know, but at the same time, I was expecting worse. So I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit there. But anyway, guys, what did you think of it? Did you see this movie, or like most, did you watch the trailer and think, I'm not watching another anime live action adaptation because they're all terrible? No, thank you. Because I know a lot of people did. Let me know what you did or what you think in the comments down below, because I'm really interested. And that is pretty much it, guys. So like I said on the last video, we're done talking about the movie releases. I know there's a few I'm going to speak about in the future, but for now, that's it. So the next video, which I don't know when it's going to come, but I should be done by now, is I want to do my top 10 Lupin the Third animated release, you know, of the films, the TV specials. The releases are over an hour and a half. The feature films, I'll call them. TV specials, whatever. I'm doing a top 10 feature films of the Lupin special, and I'm actually going to make it a little bit more special by also giving a kind of recommendation list to give to people that watch these movies. It's going to be part of the top 10. I'll explain it then, guys, but thanks for watching. Let me leave it there. Let me stop the video right there, guys. So if you want to join Planet Tyro, you like the videos here, subscribe to the channel. You can check our recommended videos that you can see on the screen here, thanks to YouTube. And again, guys, I want to say a big, massive thank you to all the guys on Reddit, on YouTube, on Tumblr, all the guys that supported us on the Year of Lupin. It's not over. We're going to continue in 2017, but a massive thank you to you guys. I'm slurring my words. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Until the next one, guys, take care. Peace out.